Now, apoptosis is a really important part of or important process in multicellular organisms. Apoptosis is basically programmed or controlled cell death. That's right, so cells in your body and my body, they're supposed to die quite regularly. So we've got trillions of cells and they're dying, millions and millions of them are dying all the time. And that's okay, because if they didn't, if you can imagine me, I'm quite old now, but I'm not growing any bigger. If my cells just kept growing via mitosis, I would grow bigger, 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 and that wouldn't be very healthy. So I need apoptosis to happen. I need my cells to periodically die. So let's have a look inside the cells of a lung here, and we'll see if we can have a bit of a look at apoptosis and how it works. So there's some lung cells here, and you can see periodically some lung cells will die. So there'll be instructions in the DNA of the cell, and it'll say, okay, cell, it's time for you to die. Cell will die, it'll get consumed by other cells around it, it'll be excreted in your wastes. But fortunately, another process called mitosis, which is that cell division, will make new cells. So when you combine apoptosis and mitosis, some cells die, but some cells are created. You end up with a normal, healthy, multicellular organism. And that's fantastic. So apoptosis is controlled cell death. Mitosis is cellular replication. And so that's good. Some die, some are remade, and my lungs are happy. Now, apoptosis comes into play when we start talking about a disease called cancer. So I've got a organism here, or some lung tissue here, and one of the single cells here is a cancerous cell. And this is a cancerous cell basically because the instructions in this cell which tell it to die, so the instructions for apoptosis have mutated or broken, turned off, so this cell will no longer die, it'll no longer undergo apoptosis. And that's actually a really bad thing. So what happens if one cell, the instructions in one cell, and there's quite a lot of instructions, if just the right series of instructions are broken, then this one cell, if the instructions for mitosis are still working, it'll still replicate. But apoptosis, those instructions are broken so it won't die. And now I have two cells. And then of course mitosis will happen again. 2 turns to 4 cells. Again, no apoptosis, no cells are dying. 4 cells replicate again, will turn to 8 cells. 8 cells will replicate again, they'll turn to 16 cells. 16 cells will replicate again, they'll turn to 32 cells. And you can see what I have right now when I have a whole bunch of cells and none of them are undergoing apoptosis, none of them are dying via programmed cell death. I have what's called a tumor. So this is a cancerous tumor. And so that's what happens if apoptosis is switched off. And so cancer is obviously not a very good thing. It's a dangerous disease. Sometimes your tumors can be benign, which means they just sit there and they're not good, but they're relatively easy to treat. Sometimes tumors can become malignant, and that means they start to spread. So some of the cells kind of break off and go to other parts of the body and create new tumors. And so a malignant cancer obviously is a far more dangerous cancer. But there are treatments for cancer, and there are in fact becoming increasing numbers of treatments for cancer. But that's an explanation of how, if apoptosis is not working properly, then it can lead to the disease that we know as cancer.